Good morning, Awaken Takers. What is going on? We made it, y'all. We made it. It is NFL Week 1. Most fantasy drafts should be wrapped up by now. I know there's some stragglers. I got one left tonight. It's an auction. We just pushed it as far as we could because everyone wanted their Labor Day weekend. So we got, I got one more draft. I'm sure there's people out there drafting all the way up until Thursday kickoff. But for the majority of all of us out there, we're done. We're done with draft season. It's time to look ahead. It's time to figure out who's starting, who's popping off in week 1, who is going to go ahead and crash and burn and cost us our week 1 matchup and start the spiral that is the fun of fantasy football. I can't wait. We have a ton of no buys. It's week 1. We're going. We got a lot of interesting matchups this week to kick us off, starting with the Thursday night game with the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, the new look defense Dallas Cowboys, who are more focused on stopping the run for whatever reason. Thanks Jerry Jones for sending Micah Parsons to the NFC North. Appreciate you. You're great, bud. But we got a ton of, we even got a Friday game this week in Brazil. Not sure how that's really going to pan out, but it's at least entertainment. It's football on a Friday, so let's go, guys. It's time. As I said on Thursday, I'm going to be shifting away from the off season, the draft season content, and we are full bore week 1 in season content. Looking at your start sit questions, go ahead and send them to me wherever you want over on X at JOwens_FF, or go ahead and send them over to the Player Profiler Now X page as well. Comment on the videos. I'll take anything. Come, jump in the chat. Give me the questions. I will answer them as we go along, as I always try to do, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for you guys. I'm here for everyone that's showing up in the stream, listening on the pod. Everyone, I just appreciate you guys being here. And let's get going. 2 days until week 1 kicks off, and I'm excited. Like I said, we got a good game too. It's the Eagles and the Cowboys. There's a lot of fantasy football firepower in that matchup, so it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a blast. Again, if you want to keep up with these videos, if you want to keep up with all that Player Profiler and Player Profiler Now are doing, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get the notifications so that way you can know whenever I'm going live. It's the same, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. Going to be going over everything from start sits to stashes to trades to everything as we go through the season, just kind of flowing with the punches as they come along, as we always do. But as always, going to make sure that we cover some of the big news topics. So going to jump right into that for now. Number 1 is what came up a little bit late last week is Jalen Coker placed on the IR. He was someone that Adam Thielen gets sent out. Everyone's like, Jalen Coker season. I told you he had a 78%, 76% slot route percentage. The door was wide open for him to just jump in and be the slot guy, the number 3 wide receiver, possibly number 2 target on the Carolina Panthers. And that door closed really quickly. It's not the season-ending IR. He still has the potential to come back after 4 games, but he's guaranteed to miss weeks 1 through 4. So that leaves a little bit of opportunity for guys like Xavier Legette to get some more targets. Jatavian Sanders is an interesting tight end that in the deeper 2 tight end super multi-flex leagues like the Scott Fishbowl and places like that, I was scooping up all of the Jatavian Sanders because I like this passing offense. I think Bryce Young is looking better. I think that it's something where he is improving, and this team is going to be passing a lot. So I like the passing options here. The Carolina Panthers did bring back Hunter Renfrow, so he will be coming in and slotting into that slot wide receiver role for the Panthers. And obviously that's not great that they're bringing in a dedicated slot guy. So when Coker comes back, obviously he's better right now than Hunter Renfrow is. Hunter Renfrow took time away from football. He got cut by the Panthers and brought back. I don't know if anyone else caught the news story, but apparently Hunter Renfrow missed the call, at least 10 different calls from Carolina Panthers coaches, GMs, owners, because his kid was watching Bluey on the phone and kept swiping away the notifications. Anyone that's got a kid and has handed them their phone to watch anything, you know that's just how it goes. You don't get notifications while they're watching their Bluey. So, you know, funny story there. But the real story that I like, I say it every time, but Tetairoa McMillan, I keep pushing him up. I keep pushing him up with news that comes out. Adam Thielen traded, push him up. Jalen Coker on IR. I don't know how much higher I can have his target share in my projections. I was trying to be like conservative with my like 28, 29, 30%. He could be at like 35% target share. Like, it's mind blowing how many targets Tetairoa McMillan can have in his rookie season. It's insane. And I want him everywhere. I wanted him everywhere. And I mean, draft season's done, so I can't anymore. I got sniped in my home league from him. I couldn't scoop him up, and I'm devastated by that. But luckily, I got him a ton of other places. I got him in all my dynasty. I got him on all my best ball teams. He's someone that was just such an easy click, and it's clear he is the one. He is the dude in this offense, and he is just an athletic beast out there. So I think that he's really going to just be an absolute smash for everybody out there. Happy Hudson, I see you in the chat. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you got your coffee ready. It's week one. It's week one, baby. We're riding. Moving on to the next little bit of news. We got a little bit more of an update. It's not even really an update because it's not official. It's beat reporter Mary Kay Abbott from the Cleveland Browns saying that Quinson Judkins could be back with the team as soon as this week. I'll believe it when I see it, because we just keep hearing all of these things about when Judkins is coming back. He's going to go back to college. He's not going to go back to college. I know we had Jason on here during the sleeper episode, and he was all in on Quinson Judkins. You can see him on Twitter right now. He's already victory lapping a little bit. Maybe a little too soon, Jason. Maybe a little too soon. Because look, I mean, at the end of the day, the contract's not signed till the contract is signed. Until we get that official Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, once those guys say it's happening, I'll believe it. But right now, it's a beat reporter. It's a local beat reporter coming up with that. And I know that she's big time. Like she's usually spot on, but this is just a little bit more of a fluid situation that I'm not going to believe until I see. But it does also kind of cut the runway, I believe, for guys like Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson, who I had my guillotine draft last week, and I scooped up Jerome Ford because I figured he's going to have a decent chunk of the season where he's going to be at least the 1A in this backfield, and he's done work in that role. He's been very serviceable in the fantasy football world in this role that he's retaining again. So I still like Jerome Ford. Again, the contract's not signed till the contract's signed. So I like having Jerome Ford on my hero RB, my zero RB teams to kind of give me that buffer until I can find those running backs on the waiver wire, or until my stashes get the opportunity that I drafted them for. So I still think Jerome Ford is good for that, but he just might have a little bit shorter of a runway than we originally thought. Dylan Sampson is still someone today I'm going over some deep stashes, not even deep, some shallow, some deep stashes that I want everyone to have on their rosters before week one to see how the situation shakes out. Spoiler alert, Dylan Sampson's on that list. I'll be talking about him a little bit more in detail when we get into that. But at the end of the day, if and when Judkins signs that contract and he comes in and it's his backfield, like the team, Cleveland went out, spent a second round pick on Judkins. They were excited for Judkins to come in and be the Nick Chubb level replacement, where he is the dude. He gets the carries, and he goes through all of the legal trouble that has been cleared since, but the NFL is still kind of holding over him. He wants the guaranteed money on his contract. There's just so many variables right now that, again, like I don't believe it till I see it. But when he does come back, it's Judkins' backfield. He is going to be the dude. And I think that we'll see if Sampson and or Ford can kind of show that they got some juice going right now in the early season while Judkins is dealing with all this. I think they can be a good breather level back for him, but I don't believe that the team brought Judkins in and drafted him and are sticking with him through all of the ups and downs and contract dispute and legal issues that, again, disappeared. I don't think that the team is sticking with him for that reason to just do a split backfield with a 6th-round pick and Jerome Ford. So I do think that Jason was right that when he does come back, it's going to be good for fantasy. But the big question still is when. When is that? I don't know. And that's just kind of where I am on that. It looks like we got a question in the chat here. Should I drop Judkins, Scatabo, Bigsby for Ollie Gordon or Dylan Sampson? I don't think you can drop any of those guys. I think that again, Judkins. Judkins would be the one that I would consider, but I also I wouldn't, because I think maybe Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon is another guy that I'll be talking about a little bit later, and I think that he is set up to have a role before having to wait for an injury. I think Dylan Sampson, his role is not going to be big enough, especially again if and when Judkins comes back. It's Judkins' backfield, so there's no way I'm dropping Judkins for Sampson when Sampson is just going to be a breather back when Judkins comes back. Scatabo is another guy where he could be in a 50-50 split with Tyrone Tracy, and I think that's still a valuable like chunk of work there. And Tank Bigsby is projected to be the starter. You can't drop Tank Bigsby right now. Bigsby is the first and second down back in Jacksonville. So while I love Ollie Gordon, I love Dylan Sampson, those are two names that I will be talking about in my stashes. I don't think you can drop any of those guys for them. I just think, again, if you want to take I feel like you already spent the draft capital on Quinson Judkins that you were committed to holding and waiting for him to come back. Whereas these other guys are going to be like, they're going to be top waiver priorities, but you drafted Judkins knowing the risk that he might not be back right away. So that's where I stand. I wouldn't drop any of those three guys for Gordon or Sampson, but I do love both Gordon and Sampson. So if you do find a spot on your roster, Ollie Gordon's way up here for me, and then Dylan Sampson's a couple pegs lower on the stash list. So if you got a wide receiver or a second tight end or a second QB that you don't mind dropping, that would be where I go to look to make cuts on my roster to make room for those two guys. Thank you for that question. Happy coffee and wake and take and Bluey. I'm good to go. My girl loves some Bluey too. I mean, that's just how it is. Bluey is life over here. All right, so it looks like we got some context here. My team is 10, team half PPR, Hertz, T, Adams, Henry, Genty, Warren, Monty, DJ Moore, Debo. We got Bill Merritt, Bigsby, Judkins, Scat, and Mixon on IR. I got him with your last pick. Yeah, with the 10 team, it's just these guys are going to be like harder pressed to crack your lineup. I mean, look at that. You got Genty, you got Demont, you got like Bigsby, Judkins, Scatabo are really your stashes in a 10-team league. Those are your guys that you're waiting to see how they play out there. So I think you're good where you are. I like I said, I love both Gordon and Sampson, and I think they're great players. But I don't think with that roster right now you need to be making any crazy moves to get them on your roster. It's tougher. It's tougher in a 10-team league to, especially if it's not like a super deep bench. It's tougher to have some deep stashes that you beat the waiver wire to. It's funny, consider the worst team in the league by 1.5 miles. If that's the fantasy platform giving you a draft grade, don't care. I've never had a good Yahoo draft, and it's not a draft grade, and it's quite literally never correlated with my fantasy finish season. I've gotten D's, F's, C's, B's, A's. I've gotten them all, and the season is what the season is. As a lot of fantasy analysts say, you don't win your league at the draft. It's just a good foundation for you. Your league mates up. That carries even less weight. I talk trash about all my teammates even when I like their teams. But back to the news, we had a ton of guys, as always, with that we were on the should be good for week 1 track, and there's a lot of big names out there. The 3 that I'm going to be talking about right now, Stafford, AJ Brown, and Devon Achane were some of the big names that are on track for week 1, and it looks like you're on track for week 1. We're here, week 1. It's here. Hello. And they're ready. Stafford is probably the one that I'm most surprised by. I figured with all the news around AJ Brown and Devon Achane they're just trying to get some rest. They might have tweaked something. Obviously, Achane tweaked the calf. We know that. And they were just trying to rest up before week one. That makes sense. I understand that. And I expected them to play. I wasn't expecting a surprise inactive from either one of those guys. But Stafford is really the one that surprises me here. Maybe not surprises, but like he was the one that I was like, I feel like that's a 50-50 shot. So to see that it lands with him starting makes me excited. I think this Houston Rams game is going to be interesting because I think these defenses are a lot better than people think. They're not the best. They're not the steel wall like impenetrable like defenses, but they're solid defenses, and these offensive lines are a little bit shaky. And I think both sides got a good pass rush, and it's going to be interesting to see how this game shakes out. I'm right now I'm predicting the under on this, so I'm not like crazy. Like if I'm playing DFS, I'm not targeting this game too much, but I do think that if we get fantasy points, it's exclusively through the air on this one. I think Puka, Devontae Adams, both in good situations here. I think Adams might be in a little bit better of a spot right now, depending on who, if they have, if they do some shadow coverage on Puka. But really, Nico Collins is another one where I think that if anyone on the Houston side is going to have a big game, I think it's Nico right now, and it's Nico alone until some of these rookies come out, because I just don't think that this O-line is going to provide enough frontline blocking for the run game to get off the ground quite yet. And again, I think the Rams defense is sneaky. I think they're a sneaky good defense that makes it tough for me to really get excited about like a Nick Chubb or a Woody Marks right now for week one. I think it's really going to be a lot of passing in this game. And I think it's going to be a little bit sloppy just because Stafford hasn't played at all in the preseason. He's been dealing with the injuries. He's barely gotten practice in. And I think that the Houston offensive line is just such a problem that I think we see maybe a little bit of a slower start from Stroud again this year. I think he's going to get it together. I think it's going to be better once they get the consistency going, but I'm afraid for week one of Houston here. Switching over to AJ Brown, I think that he is an absolute smash week one. I mean, like I said, Thursday night, Cowboys, Eagles, it's going to be electric. The Cowboys have no defense left. So Micah Parsons gone, Trayvon Diggs dealing with injury already on the injury report. I think he was a full participant, but still he might have been a maybe not a full. I'll keep an eye out on that, and we'll follow up on Thursday before the game. But I think AJ Brown, I think this game is going to be just fireworks all over the place. I think Dallas is going to come out, try to punch Philly in the mouth on offense because that's all they got right now. And if Philly's feeling that Super Bowl hangover that we've seen week one from these teams in island games, Kansas City Chiefs a couple years ago when Detroit Lions came out, I think that it's going to be a fun game. I think that Hurts is going to be able to just pick apart this defense through the air. Saquon is Saquon. So I'm starting all my Eagles. I'll even throw Dallas Goedert out there as a tight end that I want to play. But I think AJ Brown is just absolutely set up to smash here in this opening game. I think we got a fantasy gold mine to kick off the season. I'm excited. I love it. Let's see. We got Miles Young with a question in the chat. Should I trade Puka and Bucky for London and Jacobs? Honestly, I like the London and it's that one's super even for me. I think I like London and Puka just about the same. I like London a little bit more just for the floor safety value. I think that London is locked in no matter what, whereas Puka is ebbing and flowing with Matthew Stafford's back. And extreme target competition from Devontae Adams. We haven't really seen what the shakeout of that is. So I think Bucky is well above Josh Jacobs in my opinion, but I don't think it's a big enough drop. I like London more than Puka there, and I like Bucky more than Jacobs. So it really is kind of personal. I like the London and Jacobs side over the Puka and Bucky, or London and Jacobs over Puka and Bucky. So that's where I would go. I would do that, but also it's such an even trade that it really comes down to your own personal preferences. This is what you're sending out. If that's you clearly like London better as well, or maybe you like Jacobs better. So go get your guys if that's how you're feeling, if that's a possible trade there. Happy. I was excited about Travis Hunter as a flex option. having trouble with his projected points, fitting him in over players like Jalen Warren or Pacheco. I think that Travis Hunter is set up to smash in week one. It really the issue right now with Hunter is the injury. If they're what they're going to do with him. I know that he's been dealing with with a rib injury, so that's kind of been the issue there. But I would easily start him over Jalen Warren. Pacheco, I think is a good start. Pacheco, I told you guys in my rankings episode, I have Pacheco way higher than consensus rankings. I think Pacheco is going to be back to an RB1 season this year, maybe like high RB2, but I think he's up there. But I love Travis Hunter, and I think in week one, it's one of those matchups where it's going to be another just shootout. I think that we get an absolute like laser show with Carolina and Jacksonville. I think that both defenses aren't doing too great, and I think that we got some exciting weapons in the passing game for both these teams. So I really think that it's going to. I got the over in that game, and I think that I think Travis Hunter's a fine flex option. Eric Landry, didn't the Jags say Hunter is a starting corner and will be getting a handful of offensive snaps? I must have missed that over the weekend. Last I saw was that he was going to be looking at 80% offensive snaps, but that could have changed. I know that we were waiting on news to hear more about it, and it was there was also some injury there, but I'll take a look and I'll keep it posted. I'll circle back to this one on Thursday. There. The last little injury that we had here was Devon Achane. Again, he's projected to start, and I think that he's one of those guys where he starts, he's able to just take any touch to the house. So you can't play it cautious with Achane. That's just the nature of the beast, the nature of the glass cannon running back that he is. He could come out dud out because they're trying to protect him a little bit and not give him as many touches, but he could also get 5 touches and just completely run away with 3 of them for 60-yard touchdowns and have 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you start Achane, you don't worry about it. But again, talked about it earlier, stashes that we'll be talking about later. Ollie Gordon, very high on that list. He's someone that I've been scooping up and targeting as much as possible in my late drafts. And in those early drafts, he is someone that I wanted to make sure that I was grabbing on off of the waiver wire when they opened up. I guess I did have one more injury piece of news. Najee Harris expects to be playing in week 1, and I think that's going to scare people off of Omarion Hampton, which I got a poll question here that I'll pull up in a second. But I'm shocked that people would be so far off of Hampton. I think that this doesn't change anything early season. I think that Najee hasn't been practicing. He's another guy like Stafford who has not been practicing with the team. He's been off to the side. He's been doing his own workouts. He's been present, but he just hasn't been in the preseason games. He hasn't been in the joint practices. He just got cleared for contact. So while I think Najee might start, or not start, but be on the roster, he might be active for week 1. I don't think that he's going to get meaningful touches or take anything meaningful away from Omarion Hampton early on in the season. I think he might later on build up to taking away some work. I don't think he's going to be the 1A. I think Hampton is going to start the 1A and be the 1A for the entire season. I think that Harris will come in and kind of like, again, I feel like I keep coming back to it, but Gibbs versus Montgomery, but except Omarion Hampton's a beefed up version of Gibbs that can do it all. And I think that Najee is a worse David Montgomery. So I think that Omarion Hampton's just an absolute smash. I mean, we're talking here 6 foot tall, 220 pound running back with a 4.46 speed, 94th percentile speed score, and a 91st percentile burst score versus Najee Harris, who is approaching the age cliff and has lived off of volume and volume alone in Pittsburgh. It's with minimal touch competition. Like Jalen Warren was like the number 1 touch competition for Najee there. So I don't see Najee being a big factor without a Hampton injury. And I think Hampton is just still set to smash. So if anyone's panicking about this Najee news that drafted Hampton and you can get him for like a cheaper guy or a cheaper package, go do it. Um, I don't expect the veteran deference that Najee was going to get to extend past a non-football injury incident with fireworks on the 4th of July, keeping him out of the entire offseason. I don't think that veteran deference gets you through that on a team that you didn't even like. This is Najee's first year on the Chargers. Veteran deference can only take you so far. Hampton's been there. He's been putting in the work, and we've heard nothing but good things here. So I again, if anyone's scared off of Hampton because of Najee coming back, go throw whatever you got to throw at that manager to get you Hampton. Good Lord. Let's see here. Saber, thank you. Najee couldn't even win a backfield against Jalen Warren. I could not be less concerned for Hampton. Exactly my point right there. Like he was literally living off of volume and volume alone. There was some bouts of efficiency, but at the end of the day, it was just because they wanted to force feed him touches that he was fantasy relevant. Niori went with rookies this year. Think it's going to backfire. Full PPR, Travion Henderson, Amika, RJ Harvey, and Tyler Warren. I'm usually a little bit more cautious on rookies outside of like the top dudes that are like a J&T. But this year I have very much been in on the rookie hype. I just think that there's a lot of explosive guys that have potential. I think the landscape is just set up right for these younger like backs and receivers to really emerge. I mean, there's just a ton of injuries to some of these older players that are opening up opportunity, like in Amika Egbuka. He's got Evans, he's got Godwin, both getting older. Godwin not expected back until October, if that, coming back from a super serious injury and also a little bit older. So it's definitely one of those things where I've been less afraid to take a lot more shots on rookies this year. And I think it's going to pay off. Obviously we say this and then one of these rookies is going to post an absolute dud in week 1 and everyone's going to panic and freak out and tell you shouldn't have drafted the rookies. So that's the fun. That's what we're here for. As I said last week, I'm going to be posting polls over on the Player Profiler Now Twitter page, and I'm going to be bringing them to you guys here so we can go ahead and look at the results, discuss the results, and kind of just keep it rolling. Keep seeing what the consensus is saying, what the people out there are saying. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up right now. This is from yesterday over on Twitter, and the question was: a new season, new rookies to watch. Which rookie running back scores the most fantasy points in week 1? I put out Janty, Hampton, Henderson, and Harvey. And I gotta say, I am a bit shocked by the results. I know I voted Travion Henderson myself. But the more that I kind of sat with it, the more I started to lean Omarion Hampton. The Najee news really got me thinking. I'm like, does it matter? Does Najee matter? And it started to matter less and less. I think that Hampton is going to be like, he's going to get a Genty level workload. But I think that right now this offense in Los Angeles is more set up for immediate impact from Hampton compared to Vegas with Genty. I think that the Vegas New England game is going to get kind of ugly. I think it's going to be a little bit of a slow stinker that we deal with. I think it's going to be a little bit of a slow stinker that we deal with in that first game. It's new offenses, it's new coaching staffs. I think it's just going to be a game where we see a lot of punting, a lot of just ugly football for the first little bit. We might see some splashes, some fun. But I think that this Kansas City Chargers game on Friday is really, really interesting. And it's made me change my answer. Like I said, I started with Travion Henderson because I think that Henderson's kind of like an Achane level player where he can take any touch to the house. And that's what I was really banking on. That's what I was kind of figuring. But the more that I sat there, the more that I digested it, my answer switched out to Omarion Hampton. I think that he is just set up to smash week 1. I think he's set up to smash early on in the season and just be a great fantasy football running back. That's who I'm going. Who do you guys think? As you can see, we still got 5 hours left. So if you didn't get your vote in, go get it in now. And we can, if anything crazy changes over until Thursday, we can retouch on it. But RJ Harvey getting no love out there right now versus Tennessee. Do we think it's Dobbins? Is that what we're thinking? I think it's going to be a 50-50 split, so I think Harvey's got just as much opportunity as Henderson here. But we will see. We will see. Again, I think it's Henderson. I think it's Hampton. I love Janty. I love Harvey, but I just think that right now, week one matchups and just team comp looking, I think Hampton takes this one by quite a bit. But that, again, I will be posting these polls every single day. They're going to be anything that is interesting to me, I'm going to go ahead and put out there. And it's going to be something that I look to bring to you guys and things that I want you guys to provide to me. So that way I can, if you guys got questions you want the people of the Player Profiler Now communities to answer, let me know. I'll put it out there. We'll do some start sits. We'll do some questions like this here. And then we're also going to be looking at, like, it's DFS time, guys. Like, we can have some, who are you going to be taking in your DFS? We can have like things like that. We got a million different ways that we can go. Speaking of DFS, the Quick 6 Super Slam is out on Fast Draft right now. Let me go ahead and pull back up Fast Draft right down here. If you haven't gotten in there, done your drafts yet, go in there. The DFS is honestly, it is something that I am not a huge fan of, like the salary cap ones. I never got into it too much. I dabbled, but what I really enjoyed is like getting to draft and like picking the matchups and trying to do that, do things around that. And so like Underdog DFS kind of spoke to me. And then last year, the Fast Draft DFS, I started to sprinkle some fun stuff over there. And that is where I had the most fun. I won the most money. And that is where I will be continuing to do my DFS, is going to be over on Fast Draft. If you haven't already, use code JOwensFF for a $50 deposit match. And we have, again, the Quick 6 Super Slam out. Let's go ahead and hear from Matt Kelly about that. It's a great contest.
Pour one out for an incredible best ball season. It was a breakout 2025 for Fast Draft, but now the NFL action has started. That means it's DFS season. That's right. You might think, oh, wow, DFS, I can't win DFS. Oh, but you can on Fast Draft. You just pick any 6 guys, and you put them in a handful of booster spots. There's no salary rubric you have to follow. You're not going up against thousands of killer bots in these tournaments. Oh, no. These are regular people grabbing their 6 favorite plays of the week, and that's all you have to do. And we post the ownership so that you can choose how much chalk you want. There is no drafting. It's called the Quick 6 Super Slam. The Quick 6 Super Slam is the signature DFS contest at Fast Draft. It is changing DFS. We are making DFS great again. So go to fastdraft.app and use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. And let's go start drafting faster.
Exactly what I like right there. Like I said, I don't like the salaries. I don't like having to go ahead and try to squeeze all of that in. That's not what I want. I want fun guys. I don't want to have to be like, oh, I'm taking a $2,000 flex here so I can squeeze in an extra stud running back. No, I just want the studs. I just want the fun. I want the high scoring. So that's what I've been doing for my DFS. Again, as Matt said, use code JOwensFF for a $50 deposit match. Get in there. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. It's my favorite DFS out there, and I think everyone over at Fast Draft is just doing a really good job at just constantly improving it. But let's go ahead. Let's turn gears. Like I said, we already drafted, but we're still waiting. We're still waiting 2 more days. 2 more days for games to kick off. And what are we doing with that time? I'm letting you know right now. I've already had a little bit of churn on the roster just because not so much on the draft that I had this past weekend, but on some of the early drafts that I did. I'm looking at the churn. I'm looking at my dynasty leagues, trying to find guys to stash on my roster before the week 1 kickoff. So that way an injury happens, someone blows up, an ambiguous backfield shakes out a way that we didn't quite expect. I don't have to scramble to the waiver wire on next Tuesday. I got them on my roster already. They're already like hiding out on my roster. My favorite thing to do in drafts is get my wide receiver room locked and loaded early on. So that way, the end of the draft, my last 5 rounds, honestly, the last 4 or 5 rounds of my home league, nothing but stash running backs, nothing but me looking for a situation to break my way and just get gifted with the number one waiver priority on my roster, spending 0 fab, spending 0 waiver priority. I want that. That's what I'm looking for. So that's what I'm going to be bringing to you guys now. First up, it's not the deepest. This is a guy that's probably rostered in a lot of leagues, I can tell you. And look at the percentages. Trey Benson of the Arizona Cardinals is one of my favorite players. I loved him last season, got him a lot in Dynasty. James Conner's been another guy where I've just been waiting for that age cliff to just come, and it just won't. And that's great. I love James Conner. I think he's a great player too, but it's just, I keep kind of betting on it, and it keeps kind of biting me in the ass. But here I am, once again, betting on it. Once again, he's another year older. He's 30 years old now. He's got a lot of tread on the tires. And he is a guy that has not played a full 16 games except for once last season, where Trey Benson was a rookie that seemed like he needed some time to develop. So I think everything that we've heard in camp, there's been development there from Benson. Conner loves Benson. Benson loves Conner. They're a great, great pair in the backfield. But Benson is a bell cow level back. He is someone that we have seen get a bell cow workload in college at FSU, a Power 5 school, at ACC school. And he is really someone that I'm looking to have on my roster. He got drafted in my league, but again, he is 38% rostered in Yahoo, 56% on Sleeper, and 51.4% on ESPN. So it's not everywhere. He's not like some of these guys that I'm going to be listing that are just widely available sitting there. So if he is out there, go make a roster spot for him. Again, it's a little bit harder to do in like 10-team leagues. It's harder to find roster spots for guys like this, but I think that he is well worth it. We've seen in this role, the Arizona Cardinals starting running back, who they like to make a bell cow, at least when it's James Conner. James Conner in these past 4 years in Arizona has been a top 20 running back every single year. And he's had 2 RB1 finishes with an RB5 finish and an RB11 finish last season. I get it. Last season was once again his longevity year. He got the full 16 games. The fantasy points per game wasn't the most exciting, but he was there and he was producing. He's always produced in this role. He's always been back end RB1, mid-level RB2 with a floor of RB2. Like that's just his floor. And I think that's the floor of the Arizona Cardinals running back. And I think that right now, last year, we didn't get an opportunity to see what happens when or if James Conner gets injured, because James Conner didn't get injured. So I think that Trey Benson is set up in a spot right now. Again, we've been hearing that from Conner himself and these running backs, that it's looking more of like a 1A, 1B situation. I don't know if I believe that until the coaches show me on the field. But I do also think that if James Conner does miss time, Trey Benson gets slotted in as the bell cow. And that is for a guy that is available on 50% of waiver wires on a majority of platforms, if not more, that is an easy bet for me to make. That is an easy guy for me to stash on my bench. He's Tyler Algier level backup, in my opinion, without the proven ability to do it. We haven't seen him do it on the NFL field yet, but it's not like he was a total dud last year. He had only 4 games last season, Trey Benson, with 9+ opportunities. And it started off a little bit rocky. He had a week 2 and week 4 stinker in there where he had less than he had 17 yards one game and then 20 something yards another game. It was bad. It was pretty rough, but he came back, and in weeks 9 and 10, he was given, I think it was 21 opportunities between those 2 games, not per game, but over those 2 games, he was given 21 opportunities, and he delivered with 142 yards and a touchdown in those 2 games. So it's there. The potential is there. If he is the bell cow back, if James Conner gets injured and he gets 21 opportunities in a game, we've seen what he can do with 21 opportunities, and that's 142 yards and a touchdown. That's a pretty good fantasy game right there. That's great for getting off the waiver wire. So I think Trey Benson is an absolute must stash. I think he, like I said, he's on that Tyler Algier level for me, where I want to have him on my roster just in case anything does happen to James Conner. I think Conner, when healthy, will continue to be the workhorse guy. I think they might try to sprinkle Benson in some more this year, but I still think it's Conner's show unless he gets injured. But in that scenario, Trey Benson is the immediate plug and play if anything does happen to Connor, and that's why I'm stashing him. I'm not looking for an immediate impact. It's 100% a stash and hold and wait for Benson. But he is my favorite guy out there right now in terms of just who can be the absolute bell cow if there's an injury ahead of them. And I think it's Benson is one of those guys that's been not talked about as much right now. We've heard the Algiers, we've heard the Braylon Allens and things like that. We've heard a lot of those names, but I haven't talked about Benson a lot. I haven't heard a ton of talk about Benson from other people in the fantasy community. So I think that he is someone definitely be on your radar. If you got an open slot, if you moved a guy to IR, if you had extra wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks to dump, definitely go scoop Benson if you can. Next up is going to be Ollie Gordon. Already talked about him on my sleeper show. Like I said, I'm back on my TikTok game, and I got a TikTok out there talking about Ollie Gordon, so I'm not going to belabor this one too much, but he is set up right now. I already said Devon Achane expected back week 1. Knew that was coming. Not a surprise there. But Jalen Wright, still week to week, missing week 1. Alexander Madison came in on the IR. Who else do we got on this depth chart? It's a pretty barren depth chart right now in Miami. And let's see. We're gonna go ahead and let's take a look. Let's take a look here. We got Achane, Ollie Gordon, Jalen Wright, and then the number 4 running back is Alec Ingold, the fullback. Jalen Wright's injured. Jeff Wilson will probably be coming up from the practice squad, or JaMychal Hasty, one of those guys. And like Jeff Wilson doesn't scare me off of Ollie Gordon. Again, Dokes Walker Award winner, 1,800 yards in his 2023 season in college with 22 plus touchdowns. Like the dude is an absolute beast of a running back. And I think that, again, I think he gets an opportunity. He gets the opportunity to work in with Achane because they're going to want to keep Achane fresh. They're not going to just do what they've always done with Achane where they're like, we don't care. We're just going to run him up the middle. Like just keep running Achane, keep running Achane. I think they're going to be a little bit more cautious with him. I think he's still going to get a ton of work, but I think Ollie Gordon works in there more, especially in short yardage situations, including the goal line. So he is someone that I want to see what that role is. I want to see what Gordon is going to look like in this Miami offense. And if it's meaningful touches in week 1, like Ollie Gordon to the moon, Ollie Gordon league winner, because if anything happens to Achane and Ollie Gordon gets the bulk of the carries, this is an offense that I think has a bounce back year in them. I think they are desperate for a bounce back year with everything that's happened the past couple of years where they were on top of the world, best offense in the league, crashed back down last season. I think that they are desperate to prove that they are still an elite offense. And I want the running back for that. I love Achane. The injury scared me off a bit there, but I think that Gordon is that perfect combination of just absolute value. I mean, let's look at the rostership: 33% on Yahoo, 55% on Sleeper, and 30% on ESPN. That's crazy low rostership on Yahoo and ESPN. I scooped him up where I could. He was drafted not too far into the double-digit rounds in my home league. I think he is an absolute great play. He is a great pick here. I think he's going to be a handcuff plus type running back by the end of the season. That's why I want him stashed on my roster right now to see what that week 1 role is, because I think the role is only going to expand as the year goes on. Let's go ahead and take a pause here. We got Crimson Ghost in the chat. Need a running back play: Jordan Mason, Ramondre Stevenson, or Ollie Gordon. I think Mason is established enough to where you can't go away from him right now. I think Ramondre, between the injury and Travion, is this for? Are we talking week 1 only, start sit, or is this rest of season? Because if it's rest of season, I honestly, I do want Ollie Gordon over Ramondre Stevenson. I know Ramondre Stevenson is guaranteed the veteran deference. He's guaranteed grinder work. I don't think that New England's going to bell cow anoint Henderson, but I'm not excited for Stevenson. He is very much on ages. If I needed like a safe floor 0 RB type running back, I want Ramondre. But if I have established running backs, if Jordan Mason is like the bottom of the barrel for you, I'd rather have Ollie Gordon over Ramondre Stevenson for that high upside swing. It might be a little bit too safe. Okay, so for week 1 only, I'm not starting Ollie Gordon week 1. I don't got those kind of balls. I do think he has a role, but I'm stashing him to see what that role is. I'm not confident enough to go for it. I'd say Jordan Mason week 1 is the way to go. Again, if you want to go the safest of the safe, I think Ramondre Stevenson probably gets the most work out of these 3 guys. But I also think that the Vikings are going to rely a little bit more on the run game early on in the season while they get Thielen back up to speed in this offense, kind of protect JJ McCarthy. And we know Jordan Addison suspended. Justin Jefferson been dealing with a little bit of injury. So I think that they're going to rely on Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason a little bit heavy in week 1. So I'd go Jordan Mason there for week 1 there. Thank you for the question, Crimson. Jamie, good morning. Good morning. How are we doing? Welcome into the show. We got a question here from you. Donovan Edwards or Bo Collins for taxi spot deep league. I think I lean Donovan Edwards. That might be a little bit of homery Michigan in me, but I think that's where I lean right now. I don't have a deep analysis. I can get back to you on that on Thursday or on Twitter or something like that, because I haven't dug that deep onto it. But I lean Donovan Edwards right now. Let's see. So yeah, Ollie Gordon, another stash that I got there. We're going to start getting a little bit deeper now. We're getting a little bit deeper into the stashes. This one's still a little bit shallow. Talked about him earlier. Talked about the situation earlier. Is Dylan Sampson for the Cleveland Browns. And I mean, the question that we are all waiting for is, when will Quinson Judkins sign? And in the meantime, who is the RB1? And I don't think that there is an RB1 right now in Cleveland. I think it is a full committee. We've seen Sampson and Ford splitting reps in preseason, and I think that it is very well deserved. I think Sampson is a good running back. I think that he's not a great guy. He's not a great player, not a great athlete, nothing crazy, but he still has 4.5 speed, and he had a stat sheet. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. Stat sheet stuffing 2024 in college. He had over 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns. It's one of those things where, is this just more of the Tennessee Volunteer offense kind of like making it easy for them? Because we've seen these Tennessee guys come in. We've seen Jalen Wright. We've seen Hendon Hooker. We've seen a good amount of these newer, like past couple year Tennessee Volunteers come into the NFL and flame out because their game doesn't translate. They don't translate into NFL producers yet. We don't know. Obviously, every player is different. Every situation is different, but it's just one of those things where this is why he is 45% 45% rostered on Yahoo, 50% on Sleeper, and only 25% on ESPN. The reason is there's uncertainty here, but this is exactly what you steer into in fantasy football. You want to know what this situation is going to be in Cleveland. And again, the Quinson Judkins contract is not signed. We do not know when he is back. And even if when it is signed, we don't know how long it's going to take him to get up to speed. He's also a rookie. He has not played in this offense. He has not been available to participate in practice with this offense. I don't think that Judkins comes in and immediately takes over. I think it takes 2-3 weeks to get him up to speed. And again, I think that Sampson can work in as a breather back. 4.5 speed is nice. It's great. He's got pass catching ability. He wasn't asked to do it a whole lot in college, which is a little bit concerning, but it's available. And I think that's his role on this offense, where him and Ford are going to be splitting. And he's another guy where I'm very much just looking to see what that week 1 role is. And I'm not looking to start him this week. I'm not looking to anoint him as this big, like, go get this guy right now type deal. But he is very much a stash and see type guy because he can have immediate fantasy impact from week 2 on. Again, I'm not letting him touch my lineup in week 1 because I don't know. I don't know what Cleveland wants to do. I don't know what Cleveland wants to do. Nobody knows I don't think Cleveland knows what they want to do. And so it's a perfect situation. Jerome Ford went much higher in drafts for a reason. He's always been locked in. He's performed fantasy relevant. He's had fantasy relevant games in this role. So if Dylan Sampson can take over, or if an injury happens to Jerome Ford, this is a role that we know has RB2 to RB3 potential. And if you can get him on the waiver wire in 75% of ESPN leagues, that's an easy stash for me. You don't need an 8th wide receiver in your redraft league. You don't need a second tight end in your redraft league. You don't need these kind of things. Those are roster spots that you need for these running backs. And just a surprise, guys, all of these guys that I'm talking about today they're running backs. They're running backs because those guys blow up the most. You're long gone are the days where you can find like a Justin Jefferson on the waiver wire or in like your last picks as a stash to see what he does because of the Olabisi Johnson scare. Everyone has learned from that. The wide receivers, if they're going to hit, they can hit early and they'll at least be relevant early. These running backs, there's so many situations out there that we just don't know. And that's why we're looking at them right now. And that's why we're going over it. So I think that Dylan Sampson is a very interesting guy, and we're going to go even deeper. I got some time here. I got about 9 minutes left until I'm trying to get out of here, and let's go a little bit deeper. We know all the hype right now is all over Bill Krosky-Merritt. We know that the Commanders are excited about Bill Krosky-Merritt. They shipped out Brian Robinson to get whatever they could and avoid paying him, and it is the Bill Krosky-Merritt show. I think that Austin Eckler is another solid piece of this offense. But we've had Johnny Tuma talk about it. We've had Jason talk about it. Chris Rodriguez Jr. is just being completely forgotten. He is 6% rostered in Yahoo, 13% on Sleeper, which is usually where you see the sharpest roster percentages, and 2% on ESPN. Nobody is touching this guy. Nobody is looking at Chris Rodriguez. And everything that we keep hearing going into week 1 is that it is not guaranteed. It is not the Bill Krosky-Merritt show. He is the most exciting back in that backfield, 100%. I agree with you. He's the highest upside back in that backfield, 100%. But that's why he's being drafted in the 6th, 7th, 8th round in your fantasy draft. Chris Rodriguez Jr. is free. He is a free look at this Washington Commanders offense that is going to be good again. And whoever is the main running back in this backfield is going to benefit from the fact that they are not the focal point of this offense. They are not who defenses are targeting. Defenses and linebackers are going to be frozen by Jaden Daniels, RPO style, read option style run game, and it's a very lucrative, beautiful opportunity here in Washington. And I think that Chris Rodriguez Jr., at least early on, is going to get more work than people expect. I think that he is someone that is going to at least be getting some grinder work. He's not a pass catcher, but they don't need a pass catcher back right now. They got Austin Eckler. Bill Krosky-Merritt can catch passes. And I think that right now we might see a 3-headed monster, but again, I want to see in these backfields that a good offense that can score a lot of points, and I can get a free look at the running back situation. Like, give me that. Because we could see a LeGarrette Blount level season out of Chris Rodriguez where, yeah, he might not have the yardage. He might not be the primary back, but he could fall into the end zone a ton of times. He is 6 foot, 217 pounds, and he's the biggest back on this team. They don't want to be running Jaden Daniels up the gut near the goal line. So it's very much, we could see something crazy like a Chris Rodriguez, LeGarrette Blount level season where he just continues to fall into the end zone. And like I said, it's a free look. He's under 15% rostered across all platforms. Like, that's insane. If you got a deeper league, I had him stashed. I got him stashed in my home league. He's someone that I'm looking. I'm kind of excited to see how he plays out and how this Washington offense plays out. Because again, it's a good offense, and we love running backs on good offenses. And with a rushing quarterback, the potential is just so high that I'm taking the shot. I'm stashing. I'm waiting and seeing, because this is another one where this is one of those. This is not a wait and see situation like a Trey Benson where you're just kind of seeing if Connor gets injured in week 1, or it's not an Ollie Gordon situation where you're waiting to see if Achane, because right now there's no shot at Ollie Gordon being the week 1 lead back. That's Achane. With Sampson and Rodriguez, these two guys, they could be the lead backs in their respective offenses. And I would rather have the lead back for Washington over than in Cleveland. That's just how it is. I got one more guy, but first it looks like here I got a couple questions. I got Griffin B in the chat. I accidentally clicked on Jaden Daniels in the third round. I don't think that's a bad accident. I think that's a good accident. But you passed on Chase Brown and Jonathan Taylor. Ended up with James Cook as RB2 instead, and Connor and flex, and feel bad about it. I wouldn't feel too. That's not a bad pivot. That's not a bad. It kind of sounds like I'm gonna guess 10-team league if both Chase Brown and Jonathan Taylor were in the third round. So I don't think you're done. I think having a guy like Jaden Daniels in this type of roster is going to be good. And while I love Chase Brown and Jonathan Taylor, and I do not like James Cook, I don't think it's a death knell. I think that James Conner is a good plug there. I just talked about him a little bit earlier when I talked about Trey Benson. He's been an RB2 every single year he's been in Arizona. He's had 2 RB1 finishes. So he's a very steady Eddie type guy that if James Cook does have issues this year, that Connor can kind of just be a plug to keep you afloat there. I don't think it's a bad deal there. Alex, see you in the chat. Good morning. Crazy morning. I hear you. I mean, look, it's week 1. It's only right that it's crazy, but thank you for checking in. Thank you for jumping in. It's good to see you in the chat. Moving on to my last stash right now. And this is another one of those offenses I've been talking about in the offseason where I want pieces of it because I think that we might not see the most consistent jump out of Chicago, but I think that they're going to be better than people expect. And this is coming from, I'm a Lions fan. Look, Detroit till I die. And I hate to admit it, but I think the Bears are going to be pretty all right. I don't know if it's going to be consistent enough for them to be good NFL wise, but I think we're going to see fantasy relevant players emerge out of this offense more than we already have. I know that DJ Moore is up there. Love DJ Moore, love Roma Dunze. Everyone's talking about the passing game, and everyone is just kind of saying it's the Swift show in the backfield, and that's it. But I don't think that's the case. I think we've seen an offense with Ben Johnson. He doesn't like to just stick with one running back. And we've seen DeAndre Swift with Ben Johnson, and he likes him. He's good. He likes Swift, but he's going to want to try to see and work in some of these other guys to see if he can have a 1-2 punch like he had in Detroit. And I think that we've heard a lot of talk. I've been a Roschon guy, the roster watch guys, Matt Kelly, Cody Carpentier, all of them the past 2 years had me on the Roschon train. I bought in, I was full in, but everything that I've been hearing outside, like within the Chicago sphere, I've heard special teams, I've heard specialist role, I've heard a lot of not so flattering things in terms of fantasy football for Roschon Johnson in Chicago. And I just think that train may have never got started, never left the station. And that leaves the door open for Kyle Monaghan here. He is another guy that's a deep stash. So if you have a shallower league, he's not someone that you're gonna be grabbing. But in your leagues where you are stashing these deeper running backs, he's 5% rostered on Yahoo, 11% on Sleeper, and 2% on ESPN. So he's widely available. And I think that he is worth a stash because he was he was up and down in the offseason news. You heard good things, you heard bad things. He's messing up in drills, but he's also getting good touches in the game. Jamie, I see Roschon has a foot injury and should be the number 2 when healthy. Should be. But again, I've heard special teams. I've heard specialist. And that doesn't make me feel good. I know that means absolutely nothing until we see it. But especially with that foot injury, I think the door is creaked open for Kyle Monaghan to step in and be the RB2 right now in Chicago. I don't think he's going to push Swift in any way, shape, or form. But I think he could be a nice little compliment here. And again, I want pieces of the Chicago offense. I want San Francisco. I want Dallas. I want Cincinnati. And I want Chicago players. I'm looking to stash them, but it's a little ambiguous. Again, we know that Ben Johnson doesn't really like to go bell cow level back. And so there's an opening here. Travis Homer is also on the roster dealing with injuries as well. So there's opportunity here for Monaghan to step in, who is also dealing with a minor injury, but I think that might have just been a little bit more precautionary with the Roschon injury, with the Travis Homer injury. I want to stash. I want to see if he can be a handcuff level back if he does get work with Swift, or if it is just straight up the Swift show. That's the answer. This is an easy one where you cut bait on a guy like Monangai after week 1 if he doesn't get any type of like meaningful snap share or opportunities. This is such an easy one. He's your first drop. Like, I got no problem. Like, I'm not tied to Monangai in any crazy way where I'm my fantasy season is dependent on it. He is very much just a bottom of the roster churn guy, but he's still someone that I'm interested to see. I want to see what the Chicago offense looks like under Ben Johnson. I want to see what the running back room looks like. Everyone's so focused on the passing game. Everyone's focused about Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, Rome Odunze, that nobody's really looking at anything beyond DeAndre Swift. Maybe it's warranted. Maybe there is nothing beyond DeAndre Swift. Maybe it's just a Swift show once again. Or there might be a guy that emerges, and it could be Roschon finally. It could be a third year, fourth year breakout for Roschon, or it could be Monangai. He's not a crazy level athlete. He's a late round pick for a reason, but it's very much a situation where I think that if Swift gets injured, and even without a Swift injury, we could see a second running back emerge in this offense. So I like what you got there. Zare, you've stashed Monangai and Roschon in case either emerges. I think that's not a bad strategy. I think that's a good way to go about it, because I think that there's going to be opportunity for fantasy relevance as the RB2 in Chicago. I think that we could see it. And again, both those guys are very, very low rostered on all platforms right now. So pick your flavor, Monangai, Roschon. I think that you can't really go wrong with a stash and look here for week 1 to see if either of obviously I don't think Roschon is even playing in week 1. So it'll be interesting to see what Monangai can do in terms of getting on the field. But that's exactly what these stashes are. You want to see, and you want to beat everybody to the waiver wire before they're going to go look on next Tuesday and try to be like, oh, where's Monangai? And he's going to be on your roster already. So that's what these stashes were. That's what these are. That's exactly how I like to operate my fantasy team. I do my draft. I get my guys. And once my starting lineup's settled and I have like maybe 1, maybe 2 bench wide receivers, I know I got 2 this season in my home league because I went with Travis Hunter early, and then Juwan Jennings fell to like the 12th round. I'm not going to let that slide any further. So I got a little bit of extra wide receiver cushion this year, but as soon as I got that Juwan Jennings, I was just smashing back on the running back train, stashing these guys to try and set my team up to not have to blow my fab week 1, to be ready to have the blow up guy that comes in and is an RB2, RB3 on a weekly basis that I got for free. So go out there, see who's out there on your waiver wires in your leagues, and go scoop up these stashes. It's important. It'll set you up. But that is all that I got for today. And next, coming up on Thursday, I'll be going looking a little bit more into some more start sit questions, and just trying to get you prepped and ready to go for the week 1 action. It's here, 2 more days. I appreciate everyone coming in today. Be sure to follow me at JOwens_FF on Twitter. Follow the Player Profiler Now page on Twitter at Profiler_Now, as well as here on the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like these videos. And I appreciate everyone for coming out today. It's here. We did it. I appreciate you guys. I will see you all on Thursday.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. Many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.